This episode, we're going to discuss about floor insulation materials. We need to insulate the floor in order to keep the temperature to reduce the heating or cooling energy consumption. There is several insulation materials out there, such as fiberglass, thin slate, Havelock wall, mineral wall, or rigid foams. Among these insulation materials, those soft materials we are not going to use on the floor just because it's not supportive. You have to build frame for these materials. So that's extra work. Then we're narrowed down to those rigid foam insulation. We focused on two of the major choices. One is XPS, the other one is polyiso. Today we'll mainly discuss these two insulation materials. Here is a chart to show each foam insulation their properties. First one is the R value. R value means how good the material will insulate. Polyiso has R value of 6.5 per inch, and XPS has a R value of 5 per inch. So polyiso is the winner on this first one. Second one is water absorption. Polyiso state they have only 1% of moisture absorption. Somebody on YouTube, they did an experiment. They put both polyiso and XPS soak into the water for overnight and then measure them. The next day, polyiso gained 10 grams out of 20 grams. So that means it absorbed about 50% of water. And XPS has no change at weight, means didn't absorb any water. The next data is the working temperature. Polyiso has the maximum working temperature of 266 Fahrenheit, and XPS only has 165 Fahrenheit. So this is going to be a problem because we're going to use the hydronic floor heating system. The hydronic fluid, which is the glycol, is running at 170 to 190 Fahrenheit inside the pipe. So it's slightly above the working temperature of XPS. The last one on this chart is the compression strength. Polyiso has a 16 psi, and XPS has 3 levels: 30 psi, 60 psi, and 100 psi. According to this data, both polyiso and XPS is excellent insulation materials for our applications. They have outstanding R value and outstanding compression strength. But both of them has one deal breaker property, which we cannot use in the van. Polyiso has too much of the water absorption rate, because in the van we will encounter with moisture and weathers. We probably will. XPS has too low working temperature, which will not suitable for the floor heating. Let's try to solve this problem. First, we look into the polyiso water absorption problem. We can apply some kind of a chemical waterproof paint to seal off all the edges of the polyiso to prevent water getting into the polyiso. It will be pretty hard to do to completely seal off all the edges and all the polyiso you're using. Even a small gap is not applied properly, the water still can go in. So it's pretty difficult, nearly impossible to accomplish. Then we're focusing on XPS working temperature problem. In the glycol pipe, the glycol working at 170 to 190 degrees. First, we can apply some heat transfer plate between the XPS and the glycol pipe. It will distribute the heat evenly to the up floor, so we'll reduce some temperature. Second, between the aluminum plate and pipe, we can also apply some leather or rubber materials to further reduce the temperature. Then XPS can be used even on the glycol floor heating system. So my answer is the XPS. I will choose XPS as my material. At last, somebody was worried about the rigid foam will be compressed by the weight down the road. Let's look into the compression strength. The lowest number is the polyiso 16 psi. 16 psi means it can hold on 16 pounds of the force every square inch. So in our average van floor, it's like 65 inches times 150 inches. The number is square inch times 16 psi, which is over 600,000 pounds. So there's no way we can put 6,000 pound weight in that van. So there's more than enough compression strength to hold the weight on the floor. So we don't have to build those square frame to support the upper level. You can just put everything directly on the rigid foam. Either polyiso or XPS will do the job, no problem. Okay, you have it. This is the discussion about the XPS. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Next time, we're going to talk about how to actually install the floor. Okay, see you later. Bye-bye.